Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and moderate this session today. I think this is one industry that's really taken all of us by storm. Gaming. I have a teenager growing at home, and I can tell you that I never see him. In fact, I think we live a very different time zone. I never see him during the day, and he's only playing at night, really. It's a very, very interesting industry that's really evolving, and we all have seen a great explosion that's happening all across the world and in India too. I'm actually very privileged to be able to moderate this session with my three friends here. Let me actually just jump straight into my first question. Tom, I have a question for you. Let me actually start with the very basics, really, Tom. How have you seen this whole mobile usage and the trends around it evolve and grow? And this question specifically, if you can take this question from a pre-COVID and a post-COVID phase, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mobile games. It's not something that they necessarily identify around. It's just a mass reach media channel. But kind of taking it back, I think, to your question around pre-COVID, post-COVID, this opportunity has always been there. Well, I mean, not always. It's been there for a few years now. For many years, you've had that reach against gaming. It has been that kind of true mass market channel. But I think what we've seen with COVID is, a kind of a slight increase in usage, maybe an acceleration of a trend that we already saw coming. So, I mean, I think COVID has accelerated a few trends: e-commerce, streaming entertainment, and gaming, the other key ones. So, it's accelerated trends. So we've seen an acceleration of usage, maybe a higher frequency in general of people playing games. But I think the most interesting thing that we've seen is brands really beginning to feel in their gut that the gaming opportunity is a real one, that normal people, quite high net worth, females, kind of all the people who aren't included in that teenage boy stereotype, that they're gaming and they're there available to connect with in the gaming channel. So I think that's been the most interesting thing that we've seen during COVID. So it's been great fun.
It is. It's scary for a parent of a teenager for sure. But I can tell you it's definitely interesting from a marketing world. There is something really big happening there. Itamar, I wanted to kind of get your brains on one of the questions. I know that Anzu is a new platform that's developed for in-house gaming. And this is a new technology. Can you tell us what's unique about it?
Of course. So first, hi, everyone, and great to have you here. I'm Itamar, the CEO and the co-founder of Anzu. And basically what we do is in-game advertising. We allow game developers, every game developer in the world, a console game, a PC game, a mobile game, to be able to monetize every game object. So think about a billboard in a game, a poster on a wall, a logo on a shirt. This is exactly how the ad experience would look like. So it's very authentic, it's very native, it makes the game more realistic. But what's nice here is that we brought all the advertising standards to this new ad format. So you can buy you can advertise in a programmatic way. You can have the real-time analytics and viewability and audit. And basically, our vision here is to make gaming a new advertising category. Same that every big brand in the world has a budget and a marketing strategy for social, for search, for out of home. We believe gaming should get this place as a new category with more than 3 billion people playing at least one game a month. And easily I can argue every brand in the world has an overlap with the gaming audience.
No, thank you very much for that. And let me actually ask you another question on the same platform. What is it that Anzu does that any other game platform doesn't do really? Can you kind of explain that to us a little better?
Of course. So basically, we partner with game developers, and then we allow the game developers to introduce a new way of monetizing in a concept that, number one, is very realistic and authentic, and number two, doesn't block the gamer from playing the game. So for example, let's take an example of a sport game, a cricket game, for example. We can put billboards around the stadium. We can dynamically change the content of the billboard according to who is the person, according to the targeting of the brand. and then we can bring all the confidence to the brand around, is it fully viewable, to make sure that there's no fraud there, to make sure that it's with all the advertising standards he's aware of. So instead of only putting full screen ads and interstitials that are very common in the mobile advertising landscape, basically allowing to monetize maybe 10% of the game session, now we basically allow the game developer to absolutely monetize every part of the game, but more important, to have the gamers to accept this format, because people don't hate ads, people hate bad ads. And more important, to give a format that brands are excited in the way of how they communicate with the gamers. Because the rise of ad blockers, for example, is an example of when advertising is annoying, how the consumers react to it. So we were looking to build an ad marketplace that the gamer, the game developer, and the brand all get excited about it. And basically we partnered with AdColony to be our official seller and distributor, to take our technology and to work with all of their global clients to basically partner here and to bring this new capabilities for the first time ever in APAC.
That sounds very exciting, especially in a world where we're all locked down and we're watching a lot more gaming events online. I can see that it's going to be a lot more real with this kind of a technology at play. So thank you for that. MVR, I had a question for you. You come from the whole financial industry and world, really. Can you kind of help us understand how a gaming platform or the audience on a gaming platform can actually be relevant for a financial industry? I know the financial industry itself has lots of challenges, and young audiences are, I'm sure, important for the financial industry. But can you explain to us how a financial industry can actually use a platform, either to use a platform or to target the audience on the platform, really?
Hi, Anusha. So it's very interesting, the question that you asked me, and you spoke about the gamut of the BFSI space. But I want to bring in this answer from the space where I am now, which is mutual fund as an industry. And let me tell you something very interesting, that there are about 4 crore people in our country who invest in mutual funds. And we are a population of 136 crore, which means that as a market, we are still underpenetrated. Of this 4 crore, a lot of it comes from tier 1 towns and metros, which means that a large part of our population, which is also prosperous and is also benefiting with the opening up of the economy and the banking penetration which has happened, is still not a part of the mainstream mutual fund investments. Now, they are not a part of the mainstream mutual fund investments because a lot of it is in English. Now, here is an audience which is a perfect fit when it comes to gaming as an industry, because when you go down to tier 2, tier 3 towns, the way they have adapted to e-commerce, or the way they have adapted to downloading music or watching video and content online, is all because of the user experience which has been created around those modules. And if we want to get these people to come into mainstream investments, in this case mutual funds, then gaming has got a very high potential, particularly because gaming can be language agnostic, everything is visual, and it is very easy for the audience to go out and understand, and we will be able to bring in a lot of people. So that's one segment of people that I wanted to sort of highlight to you. The second segment is, of course, the youngsters, the millennials, and the oldest millennial is already 40 now. So the Gen Z is coming in, and they are particularly comfortable with doing a lot of stuff and learning a lot of stuff using gaming. And then when you go one more level down, which is the kids who are there, which is where a lot of us marketeers want to go out and focus, because then if the children can know a thing or two about investing, then they go and influence their parents, and that can happen through gaming again. So you see, there are about 5 or 6 key nodes in which gaming has got an extremely high role to play. If I were to just include broking, if I were to include banking, I think banking may not need so much of it because already it's quite well penetrated. But broking is again a segment which is not, and there, there is a great opportunity to use gaming to get people to use newer apps and platforms. Like, for example, when I was with a leading broking company, we had something called as an Extreme Trader, and we got a lot of people to go out and use the platform because of the gaming module that we went and created. But clearly, where I am now, mutual fund, huge amount of opportunity, largely because it is language agnostic.
That's interesting, MVR, because a serious industry can use a platform and an audience to be able to drive value for itself, and that's like reassuring for many other categories out there, really. So thank you for that. Tom, I had a question for you again, and I'm trying to understand. I have a son growing at home, so I can still connect to a lot of gaming that happens with boys. Tell us about women. Do women play games as much as we think they should? Are they on gaming platforms? Can marketeers actually reach out to women, or are we only talking to the male audiences here?
Yeah, I mean that's another really interesting question. I think let's be honest, it's 2020, and the idea that girls don't game is a toxic stereotype. It's absolutely not true. So I think if you look at the split of the gaming audience in India, it's around 60% male and somewhere around 40% female. So you've got an addressable audience within gaming of somewhere between 100 and 150 million. So huge, just a mass reach channel where you can get in touch with consumers, and contained, in that audience. We talked about Gen Z, and there's tons of stuff about how gaming, and especially a platform like Anzu's, gives you that opportunity to reach the unreachables, people who are using ad blockers, people who are, used to paying for subscriptions. How do you reach them? That reaching the unreachables, something like the Anzu platform enables you to hit that Gen Z younger audience. But if you look at the mums audience, so, if I'm a big FMCG, and I'm wanting to reach out to the main, to mums, then mobile gaming is probably where I'm going to find them, and probably within hyper casual apps. And mobile gaming is lovely, easy, fun, snackable content. Or often we see people spending huge sessions within mobile games. So tons, really big female audience out there, and it's just just an opportunity to reach whatever demographic, to be honest. Any media channel that reaches 85% of a population is just, you're not going to see a lot of difference in the demographic.
That's very interesting. Seems to break all the stereotypes we have about women and gaming, really. And that's a huge number that you're talking about. So thanks for that. And I'm sure that every marketer will find that information really helpful. Aitma, another question for you. Do you want to just talk about any brand, any marketer who has used this technology and benefited from it? How did they use it, and how did they benefit from it? Would love to hear one example of how a marketer used it.
Sure. So, in general, when we speak with brands, there is, two types of conversations. There is brands that there is a lot of work to do around the gaming education. And this is really getting better over time. 3 years ago, I was hearing a lot from brands about gaming was being seen as like more geeks locked in their basement versus the pop culture gaming is now. And with COVID and sports event being canceled and out of home interaction being minimized, brands were forced to look at digital ways to reach audiences. And so basically platforms like Netflix and streaming platforms in gaming were basically the two of the best ways to reach them. So there's brands that there's work to do around why gaming, and like on top of the audience, the answer is pretty straightforward. And because of our ad format, we can bring the exact same ad experience of how people interact with brands in the physical world, the exact same formats to apply them into the gaming space. And we see gaming as more than just playing a game. Gaming is becoming a social network. You chat with your friends, this metaverse concept of spending time in a virtual environment. So there's a lot of benefits about why gaming. And then for brands who already get this gaming opportunity, or after this education process we do, basically the way we work with brands is offering them two main things. Number one, ease of use, and number two, confidence about media value. So ease of use comes from the fact that we're connected to all of the SSPs, all of the DSPs, where we have a direct integration with the ad quality platform. So there is no integration needed, 2 clicks of a button, and you can, for the first time, advertise like in the gaming space in this way. So that's number one, why it's easy. And the second way why it's easy, because we use all the standard advertising formats, the same banners and videos brand already have, so there's no even need to create a new creative. These two things make it easy for a brand to work with us. And then the second and more important topic is how do we give a brand confidence about the media value? And this is where we basically brought all the advertising standards for the first time to be able to apply them into the gaming environment. So basically we guarantee marketers only pay for viewable impressions according to IAB and MRC standards. We guarantee brand safety because with most games there is no user-generated content. We guarantee fraud-free with MRC standards. And then we can, because of that tension in gaming, I mean, when you play a game, you're concentrated on the game, there is no really chance for a second screen, then we can show very strong brand lift impact coming from that. So the combination of these things with the scale and with the opportunity to package our ad format with the other ad colony ad formats, the very known rewarded ad format, and the ability to continue the marketing journey from our platform in the ad colony platform, like makes this like a very appealing a product for marketers. And basically, because it's a quite new product, there's still opportunities to be innovative in the space, to own a category. Think about the first brands in the world who started to advertise on Facebook a decade ago, and the advantage they could take back in the days. So this is how I see the opportunity for brands.
You've actually got me very excited. I know that I'm going to reach out to you for a demo very quickly, but it sounds extremely exciting, and I can see a lot of brands, reaching out to you on the same, really. MDR, a question. I know that you have a son, and I remember you telling me that he's a coder. I'm just trying to kind of pick your brains to understand your view on gamers today, their obsession. What do you think it is? And it'll be lovely. I know that Tom and Ithamar have a point of view on this subject, and they're really close to this platform, so they're seeing gamers. I would love to hear it from your perspective of what you think is really happening in this world today with gamers, their obsession. How much time do you think they're spending on any platform, for example, on any gaming platform? Would love your point of view on that. We can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yes, you can hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes. So there is an interesting graphic which has come up there, and there is a story behind this graphic, and I want to answer your question in context of the graphic. So when I look at my 12-year-old, he's a musician. He plays about 5 instruments, of which 4 are self-taught, and he plays it quite well. This is not an ad for him, but I'm just bringing in a perspective of how kids are. He also plays 2 games. He is an active tennis player. He's registered with ITA, and he plays football. Now, football is a passion for him. He has been playing this game called as FIFA for a while on the screen, and all the techniques that he has learned in football has largely come from that game that he has been playing. And interestingly, he has gone on and applied these techniques which he learned on a gaming platform in the real world. Now, the graphic that you see comprises of a group of people where the oldest member of the group is 47. The youngest adult in the group is 38. And there is a 12-year-old kid who has played there. And the game ended as 13-12. The 13th goal was scored by my son. He scored overall 5 goals, and he had 4 assists to do. And all of those compliments, and if you look at the timestamp, they are coming late in the night at about 11:21, and early morning somebody has seen it. It's coming from the kid. And I can tell you that it has really helped him hone his skills in football. And he tries to do both because it helps him be ambidextrous and fancy-feeted when he's doing football and use it in tennis. Likewise, he's also learning it from the game. The other point that I want to tell you is that that unlike perhaps teenagers or younger adults, he's not on the screen all the while. He's quite an outdoor person, but his use of gaming is very purposeful because he wants to dedicatedly give himself a half an hour time or a 1 hour time every morning and evening, or in between breaks, so that he's able to hone his skills. So he's the kind of consumer who uses games for a purpose, and it's not just for entertainment. The second thing is that he has a great sense of achievement when there are rewards for scaling up to the next level and the next level. So that's how the window is, and it's a very interesting set of people, because I think gaming has got a great opportunity to be a medium to reward our kids, to reward a lot of our consumers as they keep going to the next level, apart from being a source of entertainment, which anyway it has sort of demonstrated itself to be.
Yeah, God, MVR, I was just thinking as you were talking, every gamer out there would have loved to have you as their brand ambassador. I know that every gamer must be really negotiating like crazy. I know my son negotiated quite a bit to get the latest Omen HP laptop so he could game better on it. But I'm sure that every gamer would love to have you talk on behalf of him or her. Now that Tom has told me that there are a lot of gamers, right? So thank you for that. And I'm sure that every gamer out there loves you for what you did today. Tom, a crazy question for you. What is the craziest thing that happened this year in gaming?
Oh my God. I mean, the craziest thing that happened, I think that, it's the craziest thing that is happening, which is, the transformational change that we're seeing being driven by gaming. So I just wanted to pick up on Itamar's point, really, about this huge shift, this once in a generation change that is being driven by gaming. So, I mean, the first iteration of the internet was, really the web. And then social media came along, as Itamar said, 15 years ago, and social media ate the internet, ate the web. And it ate it because everything that was the internet and the web was contained within social media. And that's really, that's what we were talking about. That's what we call Web 2.0. Well, gaming now is at that point of paradigm shift where gaming actually eats social media, because everything that was the web, everything that was social media is now contained within gaming. And we might call that concept the metaverse, we might call it the third iteration of the internet, but it is a huge transformational change, and it's a real opportunity for brands to get involved and level up.
We can't hear you, Tom.
Yeah.
Something happened. We couldn't hear you the last part.
Oh, okay. Where did you lose me?
Yeah, that this is a huge transformation. We're seeing a big thing, big change happening.
Okay, did I talk about each gaming eating everything? Did you just lose me for the very last bit? I think I was just finishing it off by saying, it's a paradigm shift, and it's a huge opportunity for brands to get involved early and, and benefit really from that huge leap.
I can see that, Tom, India is a very young country, right? 55% of India is less than 25 years of age. So I can see this happening really well here in India, and this big eating up. And I like the way you kind of showed us this whole thing. I think that was interesting. Do we have time to take questions? Are we going to take questions from the audience? Do we have time for that?
Anusha, maybe one last comment from my side.
Sure.
To continue what Tom said. So, I mean, two really interesting facts. I mean, first, there is this term of digital natives, people who were born to the digital world, and their perception on gaming and what gaming means from them is very different than older generations. So this is an important factor. As most of the population becomes digital natives, this is going to have another huge impact on gaming, number one. And number two, just to continue Tom's, maybe something crazy about gaming, I think the economics in this metaverse that Tom described, so a platform like a Roblox, where you build your own virtual environment and you spend time in a virtual platform, the economics are crazy. People like those young adults spend money for virtual items in those platforms more than we are used to spend on grocery. And I think this change from a concept perspective of what gaming and what virtual means to those young adults is going to drive a very important factor for how brands treat gaming moving forward.
Yeah, I can tell you that a lot of brands that I work with are forever talking about this gaming audience. I think you are in a great industry, and I wish you the very, very best on what's going to come up for you, really. Thank you very much. I think this was really enlightening for me particularly. Thank you very much. We've loved having you on the show today.